Ever wonder what drives the best leaders? This podcast is your answer. Here at the Conference of Minority Transportation Officials, we convene the best and brightest leaders in the transportation industry. We're going beyond the titles and resumes of these trailblazers to explore the real challenges in their climb to leadership. Bias, exclusion, pivotal moments that shaped their career. This is more than just inspiration. We're delivering actionable advice in about 15 minutes. This is Driven by COMTO. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Delia Gonçalves, former reporter, anchor turned VP of External Affairs here at the Conference of Minority Transportation Officials. I may have left the news business, but I'm still in the business of telling stories, telling great stories of impact, inspiration about this amazing organization, and about the leaders in our network. And I'm so honored to be interviewing one of these exceptional leaders in our network, Miss Nadine Lee, a longtime respected leader in transportation. You are the CEO, President and CEO at DART. Nadine, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Delia. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. And I have to congratulate you for being now named a 2026 Woman Who Moves the Nation. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's such a huge honor. And I mean, to be honest, I have no idea what this secret society is that makes these nominations, but I'm super, super honored to be part of this.
Well, it's well deserving. You are in an elite class. We've only inducted 162 women in the last 15 years to the signature class of leaders. You're also in an elite class because statistics show that only 26% of women in the entire nation ever make it to the C-suite and serve as CEOs. So you have risen to the top and really defied the odds. Talk about the journey going there. I know it could not have been easy. And this is kind of a great segue into the first question that we always ask everyone on this podcast. What drives you?
Well, so you're right. The road is long and hard, but I think, and I don't know that I have been able to articulate this in my early days, but I think when I look back on my career, I've been fortunate that I've always kind of done things that I loved and things that sounded exciting, and I think that's what ultimately landed me where I am today. But you're right. It's not something that you necessarily know when you're a 20-something trying to figure out where you're going to go in your life. And it's only when you look back that you realize, oh, this is how it happened for me. So yeah, I think whenever I tell, young people that I mentor, I'm like, do the thing you love, and you can't go wrong. And so that's what I always tell people, because you can't really plan out your trajectory quite as easily as you want to. I mean, everybody has dreams about where they want to go, but the path to get there is often sinuous. So you have to kind of be able to pivot and adapt whenever things change.
And make those hard decisions.
Yes, there are a lot of hard decisions along the way, and we struggle, right? Particularly as women, I think we struggle with, is this going to be the right decision? Is it the right decision for me at this time? What if I do it wrong? And the truth is that you're not going to make a wrong decision. Most people, once they get through their entire life, they're going to look back and say, gosh, if I had changed anything about my life, I wouldn't be where I am.
Mm. Did you imagine yourself here when you were first starting out? Or at what point in your career did you say, CEO might be in my future?
That was never part of the plan.
No?
No, I mean, so I always tell this story because when Phil Washington hit send on his announcement that he was going to be stepping down from president and CEO at LA Metro, he literally, 5 minutes later, called me into his office and said, Nadine, you need to start looking, and you need to start considering the jump to CEO at this time because, right now you're the chief of staff at LA Metro, and you have the most market potential with this title. And so he said, this is the time for you to make that jump. If you fade into the woodwork after I'm gone, people aren't going to look at you the same way. And so he gave me the courage to just kind of throw my name out there, and look what happened.
That's amazing. It's not only about having an ally and someone to sponsor you, but taking that jump right? Taking that leap of faith and
Yeah.
stretching yourself before you kind of think you're qualified or ready to do it.
Yeah, he definitely gave me the courage. I mean, and he knew that I wasn't very willing, right? He was sort of like, she's so reluctant, but he always saw more in me than I saw in myself. And I think he was the one who really said, Nadine, you can do so much more, and you have so much to give, so you should go try it. And he understood, maybe I wouldn't get the position, but he wanted me to try, so I did.
I think we undersell ourselves a lot.
Absolutely.
It takes someone else kind of looking at your body of work to say,
Right.
you know what, you're ready. You're
Yeah, I think some of that, though, comes from the fact that women are held to a higher standard, and because of that, we're so afraid of failure. But, you have to try new things. You have to put yourself out there, and you have to take risks, and sometimes you have to fail, and the objective is to fail fast and recover. That's better than just failing and giving up.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. You are known for being an exceptional leader who really reaches down and empowers your team to be their best selves and really engage and be part of the movement. Why is that important to you?
Well, for one thing, because no leader can do it alone, right? And in my mind, if you don't empower other people, your job is that much harder, right? So I sort of like to joke that I'm lazy. But the truth is that, when we empower other people to rise to the occasion, not only are you helping sort of advance the vision that you have for your organization or whatever it is you're working on, but you also teach them more, you develop them, and you give them the skills and the courage and the confidence to move forward. And by doing that, you're actually expanding the cadre of people who can actually do all this work, because no one person can actually deliver on the outcome.
Is that intentional because, or is it subconscious because someone helped you along the way?
It's definitely intentional. I mean, again, I keep talking about Phil. He is and was such a great mentor to me, and he always talked about the force multiplier and the fact that for every person who you have been mentored by, they expect you to mentor others, and then those folks will in turn mentor others, and so you end up spreading the love and the power among many people, and we hope we will finally get to that tipping point where we just have so many people doing all the right things that, the right things get done, and they get done quickly.
And really more women doing the right things, right? Because if you look at the stats, earlier I said 26% in the C-suite, but you look at the rest of them, and our picture is not as promising as you would have hoped after so many years, right?
Right, I agree. I think we haven't done enough yet, right? I mean, there's a handful of us right now in the C-suite, and we need help also, but we need to make sure that for every one of us, there's 5 to replace us. When I look at the leadership team that I developed at DART, there are probably at least 5 women who could have taken my spot. You know what I mean? And that was important. It didn't necessarily have to be women. It had to be 5 people, but it happened to be women on my team. And I just think it's so important because, I always think back on this wonderful Nike ad that I used to see when I'd come out of my condo in LA. And it was Simone Manuel, and she was the first female black Olympic swimmer to win a medal. And she basically, her ad basically said, be the first champion like you, then make sure you're not the last. Wow. And that's a philosophy that I've adopted because it's I was the first Asian female CEO at DART. I need to make sure that there are other women, people of color, who could be CEO at DART. That was super important.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this is, I guess, our rapid fire portion of the podcast. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and just ask for maybe one answer or one simple phrase. Greatest strength, greatest challenge.
Greatest strength is, and I call it my superpower, I'm a chameleon. I adapt to a lot of things. Yeah, greatest challenge for myself personally, wanting to do too much too fast.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
With another CEO. So maybe it's something. There's a theme here. Okay. Best career advice and worst career advice.
Oh, worst career advice was actually, this is not a short answer. It was actually when I was getting ready to move to LA to go work in the Office of Extraordinary Innovation, and somebody said, you're doing the wrong thing. You need to be managing bigger projects and bigger teams of people. Don't do this innovation thing. And I totally did not pay attention to that advice, thankfully. Best career advice, I think, is more along the lines of what I said earlier, just do what you love, because you can't go wrong.
What is it about the worst career advice that we always remember?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think it's because, it's one of those defining moments where you're like, I could have listened to that advice, which was really bad advice. And instead, I did exactly what my heart told me to do.
Yeah, listen to your own instincts. Exactly. This is amazing. And so I want to ask you, and as we're wrapping this up, we pitch that you can get these nuggets of wisdom and career advice in less than 15 minutes. I listened to endless podcasts when I was transitioning my career, just for that extra oomph, right? And that courage to kind of say, well, okay, what are my transferable skills going into a brand new industry? You've already given us so many wonderful nuggets, Nadine, but what do you want folks to walk away with after listening to your journey and listening to the podcast?
So I think back on what Charlotte Shaw said a couple of years ago when she gave her speech for women who move the nation. She talked about being enough and recognizing that you're being enough. I'm going to get choked up. But because, for so many of us, we spend our entire career wishing we were more like somebody else, right? And the truth is that we're all great. And I always want to put myself into the shoes of somebody who's just entering our industry, and I just want to take them and say, you're going to be fine. I want them to know that they're going to be amazing, and they just have to keep doing what speaks to them, and they can't go wrong. It's like being able to give them that confidence now is so hard to do, because they're going to go through all the doubts and all the machinations of wondering if they're doing the right thing. And it's like, no, you're going to be fine. When you're my age, you're going to look back and you're going to realize you're just fine.
Nadine Lee, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was outstanding.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
If you like what you heard, follow Driven by COMTO so you can get your next dose of leadership lessons in about 15 minutes. You can follow us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, I'm Delia Gonçalves. Stay driven.